So, Kendrick Perkins and the good people out there at ESPN decided to make a list of the top 5 offensive players in the NBA right now. And boy, oh boy, did they get it wrong. As usual, too.
There we go at number 5, Jason Tatum. The man just hit 10,000 points. He's averaging 30 right now. No Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is gone. New team, no problem. He is a walking bucket. 0 flaws in his games. You want the hezzy pull up, he got it.
So let's pause it out the gate right there. To say that Jason Tatum has no flaws, crazy. Especially because we're talking about offense, not as a scorer. As a scorer, that's a more understandable take. Offensive player, not so much, especially when we talk about somebody who has questionable handles, not that great of a passer, especially comparable to like other top, offensive players in the league. Out the gate, this is already a bad list because since there's only 5 spots, that means that somebody who should be on this list is not going to be on this list.
There we go. Joel Embiid. No Harden, no problem. Led the league last 2 seasons in scoring. Right now, the man is averaging 32.
Not bad. I think Embiid is a top 5 offensive player. Something that Perkins has not said, unfortunately, about Embiid is that his processing speed is better. He seems like he's making better reads. To be fair, though, to Coach Nick Nurse, I think Nurse has added way more player movement, much more fluidity offensively, which has aided Joel Embiid in that capacity. But it is great to see that Embiid, as a passer, someone who's reading defenses, is much more fluid now than he has been over the past 2 to 3 years now. I have no problem with Embiid being top 5. I actually have no problem with him even being number 4. But there's only 3 spots left. And unless one player is left off, which I highly doubt is going to happen, there's no way Perkins gets this right. No way.
Bam!
There we go. Jokic.
Like Wakanda forever.
Jokic, the big fella. He's number 3.
I should have known that Jokic was not going to be number 1. I should have known. I should have known that. I should know.
What he's doing right now, MVP type season, MVP type numbers, doing it in all fashion. Has 0 flaws for a center. Has actually changed the game at the center position with his ability to pass, the best passing big in the game. I got Jokic at number 3, and he got a tray ball out this world.
Yeah, me and Richard are on the same level. Jokic is running off one of the greatest offensive peaks we've ever seen. So to claim that he's not even the number 1 or 2 is insane. But let's see. Let's see who Perkins has ahead of him. Let's just see.
Now at number 2.
Oh, wait a second. Richard, your face on this one.
It's cool.
Okay,
it's
all
cool.
right,
it's
all
cool.
right.
He's not part of this. I'm standing on business today. And at number 2, I would not disrespect the guys that have been carrying the torch for 10 years plus. Run it. Bam!
I'm not mad at Steph being ahead of Jokic. But in my opinion, Steph is the only player who can make the argument that he's a better offensive player than Jokic. Right now, I don't think that he is, but I can listen to that argument more than anyone else. And I think that Perkins is also going to make a very solid argument as well. Curry is like one of the very few players who's like immense level offensive value, even when he doesn't have the ball in his hand. So I have to give it to Steph, yes. But the fact that there's one more player ahead of Steph is crazy. I'm assuming it's Luka, because Luka is like the only obvious answer here. Luka has to be like number 1. That makes the most sense.
Standing on business even more. Bam! Kevin Durant.
Oh.
Like what? I swear, people think that I hate KD, but it's not KD. It's stupid arguments like this. You're telling me that you believe that Kevin Durant is the best offensive player in the league right now, when there are 2 other players who are scoring just as many points as he does, just as efficiently as he does, but are noticeably better passers and playmakers than he is. But KD's hey, if I call Perkins, something phobia, then I would be the bad guy. But you tell me, how is that even possible? I actually don't even know what's worse. That you think that Kevin Durant is a better offensive player than Jokic, or the fact that Luka Doncic isn't even on the list. KD, top 5 offensive player, I have no problem with that. That's starting to be debatable in some capacity, but still, I have no problem with that. I think between him and Joel Embiid, 4th and 5th. But the top 3 offensive players are very easily Jokic, Curry, then Luka. Those are the 3 players who are peak level at scoring, peak level at passing, and peak level at playmaking. All the aspects, the advantage creation, all those things that you would need for an offensive weapon All three of them do it at a very, very high level. You cannot say that about Joel Embiid. You cannot say that about Kevin Durant. You certainly can't say the passing aspect for Jason Tatum. No. KD, in my opinion, is quickly becoming one of the most overrated players in the NBA. Doesn't mean that he's bad. Doesn't mean that he's not one of the top 10 players in the league. Doesn't mean that. But what it does mean is that people tend to rate him and rank him higher than where he actually belongs. Kevin Durant, being a better offensive player than Steph, Jokic, and Luka, is criminal. Literally, Jokic and KD and Devin Booker were on the floor with one another in the postseason. Kevin Durant wasn't, you can argue Jamal Murray might have been a better offensive player in that series, but KD didn't look better than Devin Booker or Jokic in that series. Yet, he gets the benefit of the doubt. Not only am I going to ignore that, I'm going to ignore the other run the year before that against the Boston Celtics, and I'm going to sit here and still claim that Kevin Durant is the best offensive player in the league.
You know why KD is up here? This is a guy that could actually lead the league in scoring every single season. This is the best offensive player to ever touch the basketball.
What? No. No, he did not just say, no. No way he just said that Kevin Durant is the, I misheard that. No, he did not say he was the best offensive player to ever touch a basketball. Look at Richard Jefferson's face. I'm with you. Yeah. Hey, RG, I'm with you, bro, because this is nothing but shenanigans.
And guess what he's averaging right now? 30.
Yo, how many players are actually averaging 30? He's making it seem as if like there's like one or two players. How many players are actually averaging 30 early on? Okay, so you got Embiid, Donovan Mitchell, Steph Curry. As I'm recording this video right now, KD's actually not averaging 30, but I'm pretty sure at some point of the season he was. Jokic is right next to him as well. And the player who actually is second in scoring right now, Luka Doncic, who's averaging 31 and a half, isn't on the list. I don't really see how 30 really matters when there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6 players who are giving you 30 points. So you would have to be doing more than 30 for you to make this argument. Matter of fact, even last season, Embiid averaged 30, Luka averaged 32. Again, the man who's not even on the list. Dame averaged 32. Shea averaged 31. Giannis averaged 31. Tatum averaged 31. So that's 6 players who are giving you 30 or more. Now, I'm not saying that averaging 30 isn't impressive, but if you're telling me, oh, he's averaging 30, he's averaging 30. If that's your point to why he's number one, that doesn't make any sense when there's consistently been 5 to 6 players averaging 30 for the past 2 seasons. So you have to do more than that to be a top 5 offensive weapon in the league if there's 5 to 6 other players doing what you're doing as well. So that doesn't fly. That's a terrible argument. And you sitting here telling me about, oh man, he's been doing this for a decade and he can always put up the XYZ, da-da-da-da. You could say the same thing about Jokic. Jokic could average more points. Actually, he did that in the postseason. Actually, Jokic, for essentially 3 postseason runs, has averaged 30. Jokic's production, scoring, passing, playmaking efficiency, more or less is all carried over to the postseason to historic heights. So Jokic could easily average more than he does. Curry could easily average more than he does. There's several players who sacrifice the scoring production that they do. They could easily average more points. Maybe not in the same various ways, and I'm not going to act as if like, Luka, his accuracy and efficiency is on par with KD. I think that, even though Jokic's accuracy is on par with KD's accuracy, the volume of like mid-range shooting isn't on par. Right, so those are all things that you could very well argue if we're talking about scorers. But we're not, though, Perk. Again, scoring is a very important aspect of offense. I'm not trying to downplay it at all. But you got to do more than just score when you're putting him in conversations with other players who are also giving you similar production and efficiency when it comes to the volume of scoring and the accuracy of the scoring that is being done, such as Curry and Jokic. If they're providing other things, passing, playmaking, offensive rebounds, off-ball movement, screen setting, all of those other aspects that makes these players just much better offensive players than KD, then you just standing on, he can average 30. when there's other players who also average 30, that's not enough.
When you look at Jokic, I beg someone to find something that he is not, an A- at across the board. Passing, we know he's that. Ball handling, especially for a center. We've seen the big guy lead the break. We've seen him do dribble handoffs. If you look at three-point shooting, he shot 40+%. If you look at on the offensive glass, he creates extra shots. There is not a post-up. He can beat you just on post-ups. He can beat you just with his passing, his three-point shots. We know his float game, left, right hand. Just to me, there is no flaw in Jokic's game, and I can't say that about any other player on that list that he just
because
showed.
I floated Steph Curry, and you said he doesn't have a post-up game.
Doesn't have a, and that's again.
And that's not
6'3".
Yeah, but you just sat there and said, oh, he's 6'3". Oh, okay, he's 6'3". And that's fine. Jokic is 7 feet tall, and he's a better passer than Curry. Jokic is 7 feet tall, and he's just as good, if not better, than Curry in transition. Those are things that 7-footers should not be better than guards then at all. But he's better than him at that. That's why he would be in the conversation of the best offensive player, because even for his size, he does things just as good as other players at other positions that normally he shouldn't be as good as those players are. I'm going to be honest with y'all, we really shouldn't even be having a conversation on if Jokic is or is not the best offensive player in this association, because in my opinion, it's obvious he is. What we should be having a conversation is, where does Jokic's offensive peak ranks amongst other players? That's what we should be having a conversation about. And actually, let me be honest with you, I'm probably gonna do that on my main channel. That's gonna be my next upload, because this really shouldn't even be a conversation. The audacity of even claiming that Kevin Durant, this version of KD too, on top of that, is a better offensive player than Jokic is crazy. There's actually never been, I personally do not believe there's been a moment in Kevin Durant's career where he's been a better offensive player than this version of Jokic. I don't see it at all.
Do you know it's actually a stat out there when it comes down to 2-point field goal percentage, like in the paint, like Steph Curry is an all-time great, like up there with Elijah One and Shaq.
I can't stand. Oh my God, I cannot stand when people like only know like a part of the stat. They don't know the full context of the stat. And so now they're using like these very warped and just skewed stats to make arguments for them. Is Steph Curry, from an accuracy level, his percentages ridiculously high in some seasons, and even, just in general, it's like pretty ridiculously high? Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Would you then compare it to what Shaq and Hakeem Olajuwon are doing? No, you wouldn't, because that's dumb. That's like me saying that Jokic is just as good as a mid-range shooter as Kevin Durant when Jokic is taking like 2 middies and KD's attempting like 7 a game. Are you crazy? That's like me saying, oh, PJ Tucker, he's shooting like 3% from 3, just like Steph Curry. Are you dumb? You would never make that argument. So why would you dare even make that argument for Curry and being in the same stratosphere as a finisher as Shaquille O'Neal?
I'm not sitting up here debating. Like, if it was your list, I wouldn't be mad.
I'm not debating.
Hold on, no, listen, just calm down. I wouldn't be mad if you had Jokic at number 1.
Oh, no. And this is why old people cannot, and I'm not old. I know I'm 30. I'm not old, so chill out. This is the reason why y'all cannot use the vibes, the slogans, the lingo. Y'all ain't got the same tongue. Pause. Because y'all don't even know what y'all saying. Bro, you said stand on business on every single last pick. That means that this is what you truly believe, and you're willing to argue on it because you standing on business. You standing on it, so stand on it. And my humble thoughts, if I had to get top 5 offensive players, it would be Joel Embiid 5th, KD 4th, Luka 3rd, Steph 2nd, Jokic 1. And also, I just think that we shouldn't even be having a conversation on if Jokic is or is not the best offensive player in the league, because I think that he clearly is. The better conversation we should be having is, where does this offensive peak rank amongst other all-time great players? This version of who Jokic is offensively, is it better than peak Steph? Is it better than peak LeBron, peak MJ, peak Magic Johnson, peak Steph Curry, peak Kobe Bryant? I think that's a much better conversation to be had. But what ends up happening is, because so many people in the media, especially Kendrick Perkins, were so behind on the Jokic bandwagon, they're now trying to do some catching up, and to be fair to Perk and people like Nick Wright, they're trying to give him his credit. But the conversation should not be, is he the best or not best offensive player in the league? it should be, where does his offensive standing and as a player, where does it rank amongst all-time great players? And I'm actually going to do that on my main channel. So make sure you go check that out. I actually put that video on the screen. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.